Okay, so there's been a video that's went viral the past couple days, and the story has been further on development. I actually was following the story when it first released on X Twitter a few days ago. So there's a woman, her name is Michelle Bishop. It is imperative that we make sure that we say her name because it's easy to find the black people's name in the story. It was rather hard to find hers. Michelle Bishop was walking in this neighborhood in Ohio, apparently a very rich, affluent neighborhood in Ohio. I could not find the name of it, but she was walking with her two small children late in the evening time, and she sees an SUV pulling up slowly behind her. So I guess she gets paranoid thinking someone's going to kidnap her. So she runs into the closest house to her proximity and bangs on that door, I guess seeking help. And the SUV pulled into the driveway because the SUV was occupied by DeMichael Jenkins, who lived there. So he's pulling in his driveway when he sees a strange woman who was in his driveway now on this porch. And this is how everything unfolds. And if you're unaware, that's a picture of DeMichael in the corner of the video. He's a real estate developer who built that home that they're standing on from the ground up in that very affluent area. This woman says that she was walking down the street, an SUV was approaching slowly. She all of a sudden thought that she was going to get kidnapped, ran into the closest porch, which happened to be this man's porch, and he's pulling into the driveway right now. And this is the footage from his Ring camera. Thank goodness he had his Ring camera.
We need to. What's going on?
Do you live here?
Yeah.
You do?
Papa.
I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that.
So what are you doing?
Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
Hey.
Did someone come here?
So let's pause it for a second because I went through multiple videos trying to figure out every angle of this situation. So now this is the second part of the Ring cam once she makes it back home, and then I guess she brings her husband back to the scene.
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. She got somebody chased her up here. And she had kids.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in a silver truck.
A gray truck, and he came
So
around the corner,
I don't
and
know if you guys have a
I was
ring.
in the street, and so I come up, and I just saw my kids, and so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home, and so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate, and he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope," and then he sat here, and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming, and I'm like, that's.
She got all worried. That she
scared the crap out of me.
How?
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
How did he scare you though?
I just seen her in the driveway and I was like, are you looking for somebody? Because I was pulling up out
And I
home.
saw someone walking in our driveway too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
Well, I'm
Well, there
sorry.
we got it. All right, sorry.
What?
I don't.
She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
You came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have.
And he just admitted, and he just stated right there why he happened to be driving a little bit slow. He was looking at his neighbor's Christmas lights while he was pulling into his own driveway.
To understand my point of view, being by myself with two kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? And I was like,
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, I don't think you do.
It was obviously you could tell that I was really caught off guard.
Like I'm pulling in my, it's like I'm pulling in my house. Like this is not, this neighborhood is probably one of the best neighborhoods in Ohio.
It is.
I don't, you don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Well, I'm very sorry. I really hope that you're not upset with me.
Come on, baby, go in the house. Let's go.
You told me that I didn't. You said you didn't think I live here.
It was
That-
the way that you were talking. I was so caught off guard. I'm so sorry.
So if you caught that right at the end, the lady apologized and the family didn't accept her apology. And then I don't know if you heard her husband right there at the end. He says, you know what? Who cares? Let's just get in the car.
I was so caught off guard. I'm so sorry.
Then he has the nerve to start getting an attitude because they didn't accept her apology. The situation happened back in November. This woman, after that happened, went home and got on Instagram on her IG stories and told a completely different story or narrative of what actually happened. Hearing about this woman's Instagram stories, which I don't have, I wish I could have found them. The Michael Jenkins, his wife, released the ring cam videos in a community Facebook group they have. Then, after those videos went viral in the Facebook group, now this woman comes back telling a completely different story. Of course, she's the victim and she's trying to save face because apparently her online business, she's getting dirty messages and all that kind of stuff that usually comes around once you go viral for doing some bullshit, or in this case, some racist shit. How is she going to tell that man she doesn't believe that he lives there? You're standing on his porch in his goddamn driveway. Be that as it may. She comes back and posts about 3 different videos, totaling almost 20 minutes in length, copping pleas and making excuses. I'll play a few minutes of it, but what I'll do is I'll leave the link to where I found all 20 minutes of her confession. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave it pinned somewhere.
Followed 20 minutes home and my car was broken into when I was at the store. And when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door and helicopters.
He says, "This is my house." And I said, "I don't think that it is." And at that point, the only reason that I said that was because truly the awkward encounter of slowing up behind me, talking to us multiple times. I'm in this frantic state. It's late at night. I got my kids, my 2 babies. The lady at the door is not answering. There's no other homes that are well established. I mean, there's construction. It's a corner house. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on the front porch. This truck literally is halfway up the driveway. And I was like, my radar was like, nope, I don't think that this is your house.
Why?
And so I said, I don't believe that this is your house. And so I'm starting to unbuckle Cash and I grab and I freak. I go, "Rory, run." And so I take off the porch and I literally run as fast as I can, screaming at the top of my lung. I'm getting all these messages. I'm so sorry. Screaming at the top of my lung. I've never, ever, ever screamed the way that I screamed. And I'm running through the front yards of everybody, praying that the Ring doorbell would capture us. Finally, to get to a woman's house, I'm bang on the door. And at this point, I'm dialing 911. And I said, "Can I please come in?" And the woman said, "Yes, come in." And so I'm staying there. I'm talking to the sheriff. And more than anything, I was not looking for him to come to my rescue at this point. My husband was going to come. I'm in this woman's house. The door is closed. And I tell the man, he said, "Do I need to come out?" And I just said, "No." I said, I was just calling to let you know that this just happened. My husband's going to come get me. And, he says, he asked me if I wanted him to come out. And I said, no. And so the woman then I was at her house. She literally asked me and said, she said, "I don't know how to ask this." She goes, "But was it a black man?" Because she goes, "It's a black family that lives there." And I said, "No, I believe that this is a white man. He was a white man in a truck."
You do realize that we can see you lying, right?
Okay, so this must have been another home that she went to, I'm guessing, before she got back home.
"A white man," is what I said. And she said, "Okay." She goes, "Because that's a black family that lives there." And I said, "No, I don't think that it was a black man." And then when my husband got there, I stood out front and we're still trying to get the Ring doorbell footage of me talking to my husband. But he asked me again, he said, "What house was it?" And I said, "It was this house right here." And he goes, "Are you sure it wasn't a black guy?" He goes, "Because that's a black family." And I said, "No, I don't believe that it was a black man." And so we get in the car and we go to pick up the stroller. And I've said this a million times, I have never felt the fear that I had even just pulling up in front of the house when John opened the door to get out of the truck. The amount of, I've never went into like fight or flight like that before. And so he gets out of the car and he, goes up to the woman's house and a woman comes out onto the front porch and she says something along the lines like, "Did you forget something or did you leave something?" And John laughs and he's like, "Yes, we did. I'm so sorry." And I get out of the car and I walk up to the woman and I could not tell her fast enough what had happened. She walks out on the porch and I jump out of the car and I said, I said, "Oh my gosh, yes, there was a man." And John was the one that said, "A man was following her, chasing her, following her," is what I said. I used the word chasing, following me. And, So she said, I jumped out of the car and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, literally, I was pretending that your house was my house. I was walking up the driveway, and then I was like turning in. I was pretending that it was yours. And she goes, yeah, that was my husband. And so he ends up coming out and he's like, I told you this was my house. And at that point, I literally started, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I am so sorry. And I told him, I said, sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. And then, I said, this is your house. That was my words. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, this is your house. I said, I truly kept thinking like, maybe this is his house. Maybe this is his house. And he says, well, I told you this was your house. And I said, you have to understand. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it was such an awkward encounter. I said, the truck was like starting to slow behind me. And I'm out here with my little girl and my son, and I said, I'm a mom, and it was dark. And he said, but I told you that this was my house. He says, I was driving slow because I was looking at my Christmas lights. And once again, I said, I am so sorry. And they truly, they did not take my apology. And that night, I went home. And so if you guys saw on Instagram, I shared the story twice. The only reason that I shared the story is because I was heartbroken and it was a really scary night. I've always shared everything on Instagram. And so that night after that whole instance happened, I literally was sitting on the steps, first of all, and John kept trying to talk to me. I kept telling him I was so sorry. And I've never, just the panic. I literally could not come down from this fight or flight.
Okay, we're going to stop it right there. She rambles for another 12 minutes on top of this. I just wanted to get to that last part that she said about she shared what happened from her perspective on Instagram. That's when Mr. Jenkins' wife released the ring cam video showing exactly what happened. And you can tell by her recanting this story, trying to paint herself in the best light. She's also making it up as she goes, saying that she went to another neighbor's house and that other neighbor's like, well, no, that's a black family that stays there. Oh, no, the guy that I thought in the SUV pulling up, I thought that was a white man. This has nothing to do with race. I thought this was a white man. That's bullshit and you know it. You saw a black man in an SUV and automatically assumed he was there to harm you. Not even taking into consideration that that man lived in that area. Remember, in an effort to get away from this man, pulling into the driveway of his own goddamn house, she knocked on the front door. He asked her, hey, what are you doing? Can I help you? She says, do you live here? He says, yes, I do. And she says, I don't believe you. But she didn't say why I didn't believe you. What was it about him that made his statement that he lived there so unbelievable? Let me know, because I know somebody's going to comments going to be making excuses for this shit. She saw a black man in an SUV pulling up into a nice house, probably nicer than her goddamn house, and just made the assumption there's no way that a black man lives here. Reminder, if she hadn't lied on her original IG story, none of us would have knew anything. Family released the ring tapes after she was caught lying on her IG story. And we get a little bit deeper into this. Salute to Shannon Sharp with the Nightcap podcast, because just last night he had the Jenkins family on and interviewed them about this entire situation. So I'll leave a link for that as well if you want to hear their full interview. But let's play a clip from it.
And I think that's your wife?
Yep.
Congratulations, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Mike, if you can, go back. I know it was in November, and here we are in late January. If you can recount the events as you remember, as vividly as you possibly can.
I can remember. It wasn't too long ago. I was leaving one of my real estate job sites in the inner city, wrapping it up for the day. It was about 5:15. Took me about 45 minutes to get home. So I'm proud to go home. Shannon, something I want you to know is when they say it's an affluent neighborhood, it's one of the most wealthiest neighborhoods in Ohio.
Wow, congrats.
And my house is the best house in the
That's what I'm talking about.
Because
Come on now.
I designed it from scratch. I'm an architectural designer. I bought the land, I financed the land, designed it from scratch, and I built it from the ground up using all my resources. So proud to come home. I'm pulling up, checking out my Christmas lights we just put up for the holiday season. And there happens to be a lady in the driveway with 2 kids. So I don't think nothing of it. Kids coming in and out my house all the time. I got kids, got a family over here. I don't think nothing of it. I think she's looking for the front door. I say, hey, are you looking for somebody? She doesn't answer. She then proceeds to go to the porch. So I'm like, okay, so she's probably coming over. So I pull in the driveway. I'm about to park, and she rings the doorbell and comes to the front of the front porch and stops me and says, "Do you live here?" And I said, "Yeah, I live here." She said, "Well, I don't think so." So I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" She says, "I don't think you live here." Picks the kid up, drops the stroller, hops off the porch, starts running, and I hear screaming, yelling for help. At that point, now I'm in fear. I'm in fear because I know what we face as Black men in America. So I rush to the garage, park in the garage, come in the house. My wife's in the office. I said, "Babe," some white Caucasian lady, she just jumped off our front porch, screaming, yelling for help. I don't know if she's gonna call the police. I'm pacing back and forth. I don't know what's about to happen. 6 p.m., regular day. We pacing back and forth. I don't, at this point, I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen. She comes back before the police gets here. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go outside with them outside. And the police pulls up and I don't know what's going to pop off. If the police pull up, altercation happen, anything could happen.
Right.
I know they're going to side with them. So my wife's come outside and she just wants to figure out what's going on because she's in shock. And I'll let her say how she ended up coming outside or whatnot.
Okay, when he comes,
Yeah, when he came home and he said, there's a.
I was going to ask you.
Oh, go
He
ahead.
comes into the house. He says, "Babe, there's a white lady standing on our porch. She's running, yelling, screaming. I don't know what this is about." And so what's going through your mind when he explains what he just encountered?
I was in my office working and I'm confused. I'm not understanding what's going on. Like, what do you mean there's a white woman running, screaming for help? Screaming for help for what? He's like, I don't know. And immediately my heart dropped. I'm like walking and pacing back and forth. Like, okay, just wait. Okay. Well, what happened? Nothing. I was just pulling in the house. And I'm like, what is she screaming for? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, are you, what? What? And I keep opening up the door because I feel like the police is going to come here. Somebody is about to come here and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what fully happened. I didn't hear anything. I'm in the house working.
So she
and so I kept opening up the door and that's when I came out.
So she did end up calling the police.
She did end up calling the police.
She did call the police.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Now, this happened in November. The video just recently got released. What caused you guys to release? Because I'm glad this is on Ring camera. Because you're absolutely right. Had this not been captured on camera, on video, we already know the story that was going to be told and how it was going to be spun. But you guys had it on camera. What made you guys finally decide to release it?
Well, I actually released the video in our community Facebook group.
Oh.
We have a community Facebook group, about 500 or so people, and ever since I've been like, we've been shattered, we've been upset, it's so many different factors and so many different feelings. Feelings. I put the video in our community Facebook group to share what happened. And it took a lot for me to do that. And then we woke up and the videos everywhere.
Let me ask you this. When you walk up and you ask, what can I help you with? And she says, is this your house? You say, yeah. And she says, I don't believe you. When someone tells you they're standing on your porch and that's not their property, and they tell you that this is not your property, what went through your mind when someone is standing on your porch and they say, well, you don't live here?
I've been to prison, that's, had to transition and learn how to put pride and ego to the side and control your emotions.
Okay.
That's when that kicked in. That was the ultimate battle test. Because in my mind, I said the audacity of her. That was in my mind, but I had to control my emotions in the moment because I knew where it could have escalated at. I'm thinking, well, what if she had a gun?
Correct.
Would she have been running or would I have been running?
That's a good point. And she would have had a firearm. Think about if she had a firearm right there that moment. She was standing on that man's porch, questioning him while he pulls into his own driveway. It would have let off half a clip and scream, I fear for my life. So there's a whole lot goes into this. Also seen things on social media saying, apparently this woman has been a menace on social media for some time. I've seen Reddit threads that go back at least 7 years, documenting how crazy this woman is. My opinion overall is this. Who's the DL Hughley? Forget his politics for a second, but he said something in that clip that I'll never forget.
The most dangerous place for black people to live is in white people's imagination. We can accept that you are a man trapped in a woman's body, but we don't, but for some reason, we can't buy the notion that all black people aren't inherently criminal.
And I believe that's spot on. My overall thoughts is this. She should have realized her mistakes once she got home and gathered herself, went back, got her stroller, apologized, and kept it moving. But no, she had to jump in social media and paint this narrative as if this black family, or more importantly, the black husband, did something to her. Then making videos to tell her side of the story while refusing to apologize publicly. And then the last thing I'll say is this. Do you know how many black men, thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of black men have been killed, deleted because of the accusations or allegations of a white woman? You talking Emmett Till? Hell, the movie Rosewood that came out back in the day, that was based on a true story that happened in Rosewood, Florida, when a mob of white people stormed that area and killed dozens of people over a white woman's accusation without any proof whatsoever. That's the same thing that happened here. This woman running, screaming, help. Again, imagine she had a firearm. Oh, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Do Better Squad. Ball out.
Here,
You know,
for you all to decide what you believe. But I don't know if the owners will watch this, or the people who have decided to come alongside them. I don't think I'm in a position of trying to win hearts anymore. I've made many apologies and they were accepted, so I don't think it's about an apology anymore. But I just wanted you all to know that I am a lover of everyone. I really am. And once again, I'm sorry for anything that I could have done to not hold your heart. What a terrible situation and terrible timing. But that's what it all boils down to. Really terrible timing. And now it's just getting really, really ugly. So, I just wanted to make sure that this was put out there publicly. Y'all are being very sweet. Thanks.
Shut up, bitch!